Minister Charles.
Madam Speaker, I rise to make my inaugural sectoral contribution to this Honourable House with a sense of purpose, cognizant of the enormity of the task entrusted to me by the Most Honourable Prime Minister as this government steers our nation through perilous times. Madam Speaker, first and foremost, all thanks and praise to the Almighty for His continued grace and favour in my life. I thank our Prime Minister, the Most Honourable Andrew Holness, for his confidence in my ability to lead a ministry with such critical and far-reaching portfolio areas. Also, Madam Speaker, I do not take for granted the support and advice of my Cabinet and parliamentary colleagues. Rather, I remain steadfast in the commitment to work together with all to advance equity and empowerment in the best interest of the people. Having served 4 years in the Senate, my transition to this Honourable House was marked by a collage of triumphs and trials that have brought me to this moment. Of note, I have cherished the opportunity to enter this Honourable House with my father smiling from the Speaker's chair. So great, Madam Speaker, is his call for gender equity that he would convince my sister, Dr. Michelle Charles, to trod the narrow path to Gordon House in a win that I am certain pleased him abundantly. Madam Speaker, I thank my exceptional mother who taught us to care and to serve without expectation of favour. I thank my siblings, campaign team, friends, all who encouraged and advised me. But special thanks, Madam Speaker, to my wife. She is the glue. She is the glue that binds our family. And to my children who, even at their tender age, express a sense of duty to serve. Madam Speaker, permit me also to acknowledge my capable and experienced Permanent Secretary, Dr. Alwyn Hales, who leads the hard-working staff at the Ministry of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change, along with our agencies, chairpersons and board members. I thank my constituency staff, Natasha May, Karine Allman, Latavia Burke, and my executive staff, including Advisors Binley Sangster, Jason McNeish, Zenetta Scott, Special Assistant Raquel Hodgson, Abigail Smythe, Secretaries Melise and Kerry-Ann, my CPOs Leandra Latti and Ramin Newsom, and my driver Henry Willising. I, however, Madam Speaker, reserve my heartfelt thanks to the constituents of South East Clarendon. Madam Speaker, they placed their trust and confidence in me not once, but twice throughout one of the most challenging times in our history. They have made me, Madam Speaker, a two-term member of Parliament in a matter of 6 months. An unprecedented political milestone. And my presence here would not be possible without their continued support. To their interests, I remain wholeheartedly committed. I acknowledge the unwavering support of former Member of Parliament Rudyard Spencer, my friend, and the sweat and effort of my party workers led by His Worship the Mayor, Winston Marage, Carlene Benjamin, Colin Coke, and the late Milton Brown, as well as the unprecedented support from colleagues across the country who came in from all over, my JLP colleagues, and gave their support. Madam Speaker, our challenges are interconnected, and so too are the integrated solutions that are required. The garbage and plastic bottles we threw out the car window are later consumed by the birds and fishes, the same ones that we eat. What this illustrates is that there are a myriad of challenges complicating each other. What happens on the ridge shows up on the reef, Land impacts ocean, and in turn, ocean impacts the land. It is all connected, Madam Speaker, colleagues, and in the end, it is affecting us directly. Fishing gear and scandal bags that are improperly disposed will eventually trap and kill thousands of marine life, damage our coral reefs, reduce available fish stock, and ultimately impact jobs and livelihoods. We have to develop solutions to address the way we use our natural resources and how we live in harmony with the physical environment. It is this same interconnected way. Madam Speaker, my theme for today is Renew Jamaica. And there has never been a more urgent need for renewal. As we tackle the multiple pandemics of COVID-19, crime, and climate change, this government considers this moment not just a time of crisis, but an opportunity for us as a nation to rise up stronger and smarter. It is an opportunity to redefine our approach to the provision of shelter solutions by providing accessible, affordable, and climate-resilient housing, to reinvigorate our urban centers in order to enhance economic viability and environmental sustainability, to restore the environment, and to reduce the impacts of climate change so all Jamaicans can realize a better quality of life. We want to turn this crisis into opportunity through our innovation, and our ministry will be working to empower all Jamaicans to be a part of the solution. To this end, we celebrate the efforts of partners like Project Save Our Reefs, who create innovative environmental solutions by repurposing waste. Madam Speaker, they take waste and turn it into sculptures that end up as artificial reefs and serve as nurseries for corals and other marine creatures. So too, the Alligator Head Foundation. We have partners across Jamaica. Yes, they're working on it. Taken together, each distinct portfolio, housing, urban renewal, environment, and climate change, outlines a pathway for the country to thrive in the post-COVID era. This government, Madam Speaker, has the roadmap to renew Jamaica. Madam Speaker, we move to the existential threat of climate change. As far back as 2013, it was projected that as early as 2023, Kingston will be one of the first places on Earth to see a significant increase in temperature, making it unbearably hot to living, a tipping point. Madam Speaker, if we haven't learned anything from this year, it is that when we hear these projections from our scientists, take them seriously. It is projected then that every year after 2023 will be hotter than any previous year on record. And this is a serious threat to our ecosystems and our way of life. Climate change threatens the very economic base on which we seek to build our country. Cognizant of this, Madam Speaker, colleagues, my ministry is moving to advance progress in building the country's resilience to climate change. Indeed, we have accomplished much, and there's much more to accomplish. One of the major successes in 2020 was the completion of Jamaica's updated nationally determined contribution, which was submitted to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change last June. This, colleagues, specifies Jamaica's climate actions, our policies, our measures that the government commits to in terms of implementing a response to climate change. Jamaica, we have updated the NDC to include reducing emissions in the energy, forestry, and land use sectors. And the level of ambition, as stated by our Prime Minister in the Climate Summit, for Jamaica's unconditional commitment has increased by more than 60% when compared to the updated NDC, between the updated NDC and the first NDC. We are making progress, Madam Speaker, in the avenue of climate action. Jamaica received support under the NDC Partnership Climate Action Enhancement Package to implement activities to complement our NDC enhancement. This work, Madam Speaker, informs the output of 11 sub-projects of the CAPE program. All projects are scheduled for completion in 2021, and it includes the development of our long-term low emissions and climate resilient development strategy. It includes the assessment, Madam Speaker, of climate expenditure analysis and modeling to support the introduction of climate change budget tagging, now being pursued by the Ministry of Finance and Public Service. And also, it includes research and the technology development agenda. Moving to technology, Madam Speaker, we have advanced a technology needs assessment for climate change. We have identified 187 potential technologies that could work and shortlisted it to 10 for the agriculture, Minister Green, coastal resources, water, and energy sectors. A barrier analysis was conducted to identify constraints to technology diffusion in Jamaica, and from that analysis, Madam Speaker, an action plan was developed to remove these barriers and constraints. To give an example, electric vehicles will become a major feature in our transport mix in the future for Jamaica. Madam Speaker, a very important partnership is going to be developed between the Ministry and UNICEF. And that partnership has resulted in my being able to circulate in the bags which colleagues will receive a publication on the effect of climate change on the children of the Caribbean and Latin America. This is a welcome addition to our resource bank, Madam Speaker. We are all aware that the COVID pandemic has had and will have a significant impact on our young population. We have yet to determine the impact. Climate change will also continue to have a yet unspecified impact. And so it's important for us to work together with international partners to utilize the technical expertise and to make sure that we are preparing to adapt and to prepare our youngsters. Madam Speaker, during this financial year, Jamaica will have access to 1.1 million US granted from the Green Climate Fund to commence preparation of Jamaica's first national adaptation plan. This plan will include a private sector engagement strategy, a finance strategy, and an investment plan for adaptation. Madam Speaker, we also have a pilot project, a pilot of the Local Climate Adaptive Living Facility, LOCAL, which seeks to strengthen the capacity of our municipal corporations to integrate and finance climate action, and this will be tested. Preparatory work for this pilot commenced in the last financial year and will be significantly advanced in this fiscal year. What is clear, Madam Speaker, is that more is being done as it relates to climate change than you know. And we are going to work assiduously to ensure that Jamaica is in tune with all the work being done by our climate change division. Madam Speaker, Jamaica is at the forefront of the global discussion on climate action. And I want to acknowledge the hard work of Una Mae Gordon and the committed team in the climate division team from our ministry. Madam Speaker, on Earth Day, April 22nd, 40 leaders from across the world were selected, invited to the Leaders Summit on Climate, hosted by US President Joe Biden. Our Prime Minister was one of the 40 world leaders that was asked not just to participate, but to present at the summit. Governments, including Jamaica, are urged to take concrete actions to keep global warming at 1.5 degrees Celsius, above pre-industrial levels. This is a goal that was set under the 2015 Paris Agreement. The summit highlighted the need for greater access to climate financing. And of course, Madam Speaker, we have to acknowledge the selection of our Prime Minister as one of only 3 selected by the UN Secretary General to lead the entire planet on the discussion of climate financing. Madam Speaker, we are leaders internationally and regionally. Jamaica chairs the Board of Governors of the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center. I represent Jamaica on the NDC partnership as co-chair with the Right Honourable Alok Sharma, who is going to be the president of COP26 in November and is from the United Kingdom, my counterpart. And this NDC partnership is a global coalition, colleagues, of 193 members, including countries and institutional partners. And it is the pivotal platform across the globe as it relates to climate change and the discussion on the nationally determined contributions. Madam Speaker, again, while there's much to be done, we have to be proud of the strong voice and leadership of Jamaica on the global stage. Madam Speaker, now more than ever, we need to give special attention to economic recovery, the kind of economic recovery that fosters the building of climate resilience and long-term sustainability. Madam Speaker, in this regard, the NDC Partnership Economic Advisory Program will provide expertise of an embedded technical advisor to be placed at the Planning Institute of Jamaica. This advisor will support our efforts in analyzing the socio-economic impacts of COVID-19 and assisting in developing a comprehensive medium-term recovery plan and strategy to address the findings from the post-COVID-19 impact assessment in line with our enhanced NDC. Madam Speaker, I move swiftly through to the Coalition for Climate Resilient Investment. And again, Jamaica leads the world by becoming the first country in the world to begin the process of developing a predictive climate risk assessment planning tool for major infrastructure areas under the global private sector-led Coalition for Climate Resilient Investment. Madam Speaker, this tool will enable us as decision makers to assess climate risk to Jamaica's infrastructure networks, to visualize hotspots of high levels of economic and social value at risk in relevant times. And Madam Speaker, we will begin testing this tool in June 2021. Madam Speaker, I move to the natural environment. Strengthening climate resilience and our environmental health go hand in hand. As such, the Ministry and its agencies continue to be proactive and vigilant in advocating and promoting the policies and laws that govern and protect our environment. At the Ministry, Acting Chief Technical Director Gillian Guthrie and the team are working assiduously to develop a robust policy and legislative framework to address the sustainable use of our natural resources and the preservation of the environment. These policies, Madam Speaker, do not exist in a vacuum. They have real-world, multi-sectoral application that impacts our country and, by extension, the lives and livelihoods of all of our citizens. During the 2020-2021 financial year, the Ministry made significant progress in advancing a number of environmental policy instruments and programs. The details will be in the booklet, but I'll just mention a few. In this financial year, we will finalize the Green Economy Investment Strategy for Jamaica. I know that Minister Shaw will be happy to hear that. This will promote green investments as a crucial element of the post-COVID-19 recovery. We will be advancing, Madam Speaker, a number of policies as well. The National Policy for the Environmentally Sound Management of Hazardous Waste, which is aimed at reducing the deleterious effects of hazardous waste on human health and environment, Minister Tufta. We'll be advancing the Biosafety Policy for Jamaica, geared towards any potential risk to human health and environment from development, transboundary movement, handling and use of living modified organisms. We will be advancing a critical policy, which I am sure the public will be interested in, the beach access and management policy for Jamaica, Madam Speaker, with a view to increasing access to the public of our beaches across the island and improving the standard of beaches that are accessible to the public. Madam Speaker, the Ministry is also pursuing two very critical policies which are intended to provide a comprehensive and integrated approach to advance Jamaica's air quality and climate change agenda. These are the Emissions Policy Framework for Jamaica and the update of the Climate Change Policy Framework for Jamaica. For the year ahead, the Ministry will continue to enhance the country's environmental policy framework, and this will include developing, with the support of the United Nations Development Programme and the Global Environment Programme project, an environmental policy for Jamaica. It will include the advancement of protected areas policy for Jamaica. It will include a watersheds management policy for Jamaica, Madam Speaker. And in the environmental legislative framework, we will be pursuing amendments to the Natural Resources Conservation Authority Act to address the issues relating to fines and offences, revocation of permits and licenses issued by the authority, contaminated lands and remediation, and the criteria for environmental impact assessments and performance bonds, among others. Madam Speaker, the Ministry will finalise amendments to our Wildlife Protection Act, and we will be pursuing the promulgation of regulations under the NRCA Act to govern environmental impact assessments. In collaboration with our Forestry Department, we will also work on the amendment of the Forest Act and forest regulations to ensure that they are aligned with the tenets of the forest policy for Jamaica. Madam Speaker, as it relates to legislation, we will also be finalizing a process that was started many, many years ago to establish, once and for all, a legislative framework for the practice of meteorology in Jamaica. And this will facilitate a regulated environment for the development of weather and climate services in our country. I'll speak further on that, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as it relates to protected areas management, managing our protected areas is critical for safeguarding our biodiversity, maintaining the health of ecosystems, building resilience to climate change, and allowing for the sustainable use of our natural resources. In collaboration with NEPA, the Ministry will seek to finalize the Natural Resources Conservation Protected Areas regulations, which will further strengthen the governance and management arrangement for the country's protected areas. We're looking at the Black River protected landscape and seascape and moving towards the Pedro Keys and surrounding waters as a protected area under the NRCA Act. Madam Speaker, 2 years ago, my colleague, Minister and Member of Parliament, the Honourable Darrell Vaz, in his former capacity, announced the government's ban on specific categories of single-use plastic packaging materials. This was a pivotal decision given the fact that 15% of all municipal solid waste generated in our country is non-biodegradable plastic. In January of this year, the government implemented Phase 3 of the ban. And Madam Speaker, since then, we have had and held rigorous consultations with a wide range of stakeholders in the public and private sector. In February, I updated the Parliament on the implementation of the ban, and we reaffirmed the government's commitment to work with stakeholders throughout the 6-month transition period, which comes to an end, I remind you, on June 30th of this year. Madam Speaker, Cabinet gave approval during the last financial year for the implementation of a 10-year national program to address the over 2 million end-of-life tires at the island's disposal sites. Madam Speaker, the approval involved the removal of those tires to the Caribbean Cement Company for disposal in its high-temperature kilns. Implementation of this program is critical to our development, Madam Speaker. It will not only reduce the cost to store them, but it will also deal with some of the serious health and environmental risks associated with their storage, including potential fire hazards as well as the mosquitoes. Madam Speaker, the program is a partnership between the government through MUREC, the Ministry of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change, and the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. And I want to acknowledge the leadership and stewardship of my colleague, Minister Desmond McKenzie, and his agency, the National Solid Waste Management Authority. Madam Speaker, further to Cabinet approval, we will be commencing at the Ministry the development of a resource efficiency program within the public sector. And the goal is to promote environmental stewardship. Madam Speaker, the program is designed to facilitate the procurement of environmentally friendly products, to encourage recycling, as well as to increase the conservation and efficiency of the utilities use within the sector. Successful implementation of this program in the public sector will be used as a model to expand it across the private sector. Madam Speaker, partnership is essential if we are to achieve our goals as it relates to the environmental and climate change agenda. The goal at our ministry is to build out a national network, Madam Speaker, one that will allow for us to provide guidelines to schools, churches, communities, on how they can play their part, to provide support to our colleagues in Parliament on how they can play their part to integrate practices within their own constituencies. We all have to work together, Madam Speaker, if we want to renew Jamaica. So far, Madam Speaker, we have 100 companies that have been invited to what will be our first discussion on developing the network across corporate Jamaica. And Madam Speaker, each of the parliamentarians in this House will be receiving this card. It will be in your booklets. Madam Speaker, I present to you the Earth card. The Ministry will be providing an allocation to each parliamentarian, starting with 100 seedlings, for you to be able to execute activities in your constituency. And we look forward to you, Minister Tufton, to you, Minister Chang, and to all parliamentarians going to the Forestry Department and giving their support by buying further, allocating maybe from your CDF or from your pocket, if you are the Prime Minister Andrew Holness, to support our initiative in ensuring that not only parliamentarians, but every Jamaican should be a participant holding an Earth card, playing their part to achieve the 3 million and more, and understanding as we build out the network to renew Jamaica. Already we're getting some requests from Minister Tufton from fruit trees. And I've heard him saying that he will be purchasing some Julie mangoes for the constituency. St. Julian. Madam Speaker, as we speak about partnership, we also speak about our youth. And my ministry's Youth Environmental Advocacy Program is currently in its 5th year of implementation. The program aims to empower students aged 9 to 11 to advocate their issues and concerns with respect to the environment. I want to highlight a young man, Madam Speaker, from an institution of which many, I don't want to say are envious, but have some concerns. My friends from KC think that they are the college, but there's another college that has produced several leaders. It is called Campion College. And thank you, Minister. Yes. And I want to highlight the leader of the Environmental Club at Campion College, who invited me to his online program with hundreds of students. And what it showed me, Madam Speaker, is while we are trying to teach the youth, we should be the one listening to them. They are already on board. They just need a platform to be able to let their voice be heard and to get going with the actions they already want to do. And so, Madam Speaker, the ministry will be working with the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, with our dear Minister Favour Williams, as well as Honourable Minister of State, Mr. Morgan. Our goal is to build that network, that Renew Jamaica network, across every school in Jamaica. Every student, Minister of Education, should be planting a tree. Every student should be recycling a bottle. And if we do so, we will be able to achieve the goal that our Prime Minister seeks of renewing Jamaica. Madam Speaker, Jamaica is preparing for the implementation of the latest transport technology to hit our roads, electric vehicles. The rollout of the support network services such as charging stations, service locations for vehicles and batteries, and the disposal of techno waste must be accompanied by the promulgation of legislation and policies, as well as skills training and public education. Madam Speaker, the Ministry, in collaboration with key stakeholders in the public and private sectors, will implement a project in this financial year, supported by the Global Environment Facility, to assist in the advancement of Jamaica's e-mobility agenda. Madam Speaker, I move quickly to multilateral environmental agreements. The SCARZO agreement, Madam Speaker, is a regional agreement on access to information, public participation and justice in environmental matters in our region. And having participated extensively in the negotiations, Jamaica has signed the agreement, and this year we will coordinate the consultative process towards Cabinet's consideration of Jamaica ratifying this instrument. Madam Speaker, geospatial technologies. And I jump, Madam Speaker, because we have 4 portfolio areas and a lot of substance in each. Madam Speaker, in carrying out our mandate of building a sustainable and resilient Jamaica, we rely heavily on geospatial technologies, the modern tools necessary to map and analyze the Earth and human societies. And I'm pleased to note the advancements made by Acting Director Raymond Poyser and the team at the National Spatial Data Management branch of our ministry as they manage Jamaica's spatial data infrastructure and promote the use of geospatial tools for the growth of the local geospatial sector. Madam Speaker, the National Spatial Data Management branch offered critical support in the fight against COVID-19. The branch assisted in developing a COVID-19 dashboard in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and Wellness, mapping COVID-19 cases across the island. From this, the Ministry of Health and Wellness reports to the nation daily on new cases, recoveries, hospitalization, and deaths. And we continue to collaborate with you, Minister Tufton, to enhance mapping and the analysis capabilities in relation to health hazards and future disease outbreaks in our country. Madam Speaker, I move to National Spatial Planning Information Platform. This is a web-based visualization planning tool designed to complement the National Spatial Plan. And again, Madam Speaker, at our ministry, we understand the importance of empirical data, better information, more accurate information leading to better policies and better rollout of our plans. Madam Speaker, I return quickly to meteorological services, as I said we would. Many of us do not recognize how important the Meteorological Services Department is. Madam Speaker, in a time when rising global average temperature is associated with widespread changes in weather patterns which lead to more frequent and intense events, the ability for us to forecast weather events is paramount to our effort to become more resilient to shocks to our country and our economy. This change in weather demands that we have access to better forecasting through better technology, and I'm pleased, colleagues, to report that the Meteorological Services branch, our Met Service, is improving its forecasting ability through the acquisition of our Doppler radar, which is a project implemented by the World Bank, and that has been installed at 70-foot tower installed at the Cooper's Hill site, as well as a 40-foot diameter antenna and protective radome. Madam Speaker, also, in addition to the weather radar being installed, the Met Service has over the past year added a number of automatic weather stations to its assets. Our Met Service is collaborating with academia, UWI, and other institutions for the development of data transfer technology that will allow it to remotely retrieve and relay information about the existing weather in real time, Madam Speaker, in a monitoring platform within their offices and even on their mobile devices. This technology was previewed last month and is now in the testing phase for implementation early in the current financial year. Madam Speaker, we all know the danger and frequency of bushfires. Madam Speaker, the Ministry is developing or has developed a bushfire warning index model. This is being further tested and fine-tuned, and it is done through a project executed by the Caribbean Development Bank. Madam Speaker, the technology is being customized to include the consideration of local climate variables. Our goal is to make sure that we can foresee the likely bushfire starts and provide alerts to initiate preventative action. Madam Speaker, a mobile firefighting device was procured and handed over to the Jamaica Fire Brigade, along with handheld GPS devices being made available to each of the island's fire stations. Madam Speaker, I want to take the time to acknowledge Mr. Evan Thompson. Mr. Thompson he has served this country for a very long time. He's our director of the Met Service. And Madam Speaker, he has the distinction of representing Jamaica at the Executive Council of the World Meteorological Organization. This year, Mr. Thompson was elevated to President of the North America, Central America, and Caribbean Regional Association for the World Meteorological Organization. Congratulations to him for his continued service. Madam Speaker, I want to move quickly to the Forestry Department. Over the past several years, Jamaica's deforestation rate has declined, and our current forest cover has improved significantly and is currently at 40%. This is a critical achievement for our climate resilience, given that our forests are one of the biggest reservoirs of atmospheric carbon in the mitigation of global warming and climate change. And let me pause to acknowledge our new, creative, energetic conservator of forests, Mr. Ainsley Henry. Madam Speaker, as a government, we acknowledge environmental sustainability as a driver of economic growth. Simply put, to achieve sustainable development, colleagues, we must develop sustainably. During the 2020-2021 financial year, the Forestry Department focused on implementing and monitoring the 4-year budget support program titled Addressing Environmental and Climate Change Challenges through Improved Forest Management for Jamaica. And this is financed under the 11th European Development Fund. And we also acknowledge our partners in that regard. Now, in its 3rd year of implementation, Madam Speaker, Its overall objective is to assist the government and people of Jamaica in implementing the forest policy of 2017 and to sustainably manage and utilize Jamaica's forest resources. Our goal is to enhance the social and economic development and contribute to the country's climate resilience. Madam Speaker, the Ministry, in collaboration with stakeholders such as NEPA and with our agency, the Forestry Department, we will seek to declare the areas of cockpit country as protected areas under the law, to develop a management plan, and also to nominate the area for declaration as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. I know Minister Grange would like to hear that. The Forestry Department, Madam Speaker, is doing good work, and they are seeking and actively engaging citizens in this country to help in carrying out their work. Madam Speaker, during the financial year, we are also going to be implementing the Alternative Livelihoods program, a very important program that will be facilitating the execution of 46 alternative livelihood projects valued at $240 million within communities adjacent to forest areas in 13 parishes. The program includes interventions such as agroforestry, apiculture, rainwater harvesting, craft item production, and ecotourism. During the last financial year, 43 commenced implementation, and a total of $182.6 million has been dispersed. The agency also continued to provide, Madam Speaker, employment opportunities with some 700 people in rural communities close to Forest Island, across the island, being employed as casual workers. Madam Speaker, I turn, as we close on the environmental section, to a program which all of Jamaica should know. Our National Tree Planting Initiative, aimed at planting 3 million trees across the island over a 3-year period. Madam Speaker, the program is already improving the quality of life of all Jamaicans, as well as securing the commitment of the population to support the country's environmental and climate change portfolio. So far, we have planted in excess of 500,000 trees, with pledges of 1.5 million trees being planted. In this financial year, we anticipate receiving pledges to meet or exceed our target. In furtherance of this initiative, Madam Speaker, I want to announce, as we said, that we look forward to all of the parliamentarians, as I said, not just receiving your earth card, but we look forward to you going to your schools, getting into your communities, and ensuring that you match or exceed the allocation by going to the Forestry Department and supporting the initiative. Madam Speaker, for the year ahead, the Forestry Department will continue the implementation of the RED Plus program. This is the Reducing Emissions for Deforestation and Forest Degradation Readiness Project, a critical project funded by the Green Climate Fund. It's going to assist us with capacity building, and it will assist us in establishing, Madam Speaker, a planning mechanism to guide the country in becoming RED Plus ready. This is designed to monetize carbon stocks. And I tell you, Madam Speaker, this government is keen on diversifying our opportunities to generate revenue. And if we can adequately monetize these opportunities, our economic framework will be diversified. There are great opportunities in the carbon market, and it is our intention at the Ministry to ensure that we interrogate those opportunities to the benefit of the government and people of Jamaica. Madam Speaker, I move to the housing portfolio. Owning a home is a universal ambition. It is something that every Jamaican desires and every Jamaican deserves. Now, Madam Speaker, in this time when we are asked to turn your yard to help manage the ongoing pandemic, we are confronted with the vulnerability of those who do not have a safe place to call a home.
The member's time for speaking has expired.
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I ask that the Speaker be given an additional 20 minutes to complete his presentation.
Minister, it's asked that you be given an additional 20 minutes to complete your presentation. Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, colleagues. I will move swiftly through the housing and urban renewal portfolios, but of course the information is here for you to digest in detail. As I was saying, Madam Speaker, for too many Jamaicans, the safe, legal, affordable solutions that we seek are out of reach. As a government, we have a responsibility and we are focused on ensuring that we design the framework to provide the opportunities for our people to access affordable housing. Madam Speaker, for the first time, we will be able to say in this Parliament that we have a comprehensive national housing policy that can address our complex housing challenges. And this will be coupled with the necessary regulatory guidelines and operational procedures to introduce innovation and efficiency in how we build and in the systems that we use to move forward sustainably. Madam Speaker, the draft National Housing Policy being developed by Chief Technical Director Doreen Prendergast and her team specifically seeks to address the issues relating to access to finance, improving the supply of housing options, and enhancing affordability, while also integrating climate resilience and sustainable building practices in how we design and construct our homes. The policy was tabled in Parliament as a Green Paper in 2019, and we are moving quickly, Madam Speaker, to have this policy tabled as a White Paper before the end of this fiscal year. Madam Speaker, we are engaging all of Jamaica in this conversation. And last month, the Ministry hosted a series of consultations under the theme, Let's Talk Housing. We engage various stakeholders, including youth leaders, developers, and mortgage institutions. And the draft policy will include the information and recommendations from those consultations. Madam Speaker, our Prime Minister gave us an ambitious target, 70,000 houses in the tenure. And the Ministry will play a critical role in achieving this ambitious target. Madam Speaker, we will be, mindful of what we have to achieve and how we have to achieve it. We will be advancing a climate-resilient home design competition. Madam Speaker, the competition intends to engage stakeholders in the housing and construction industries to address some of the challenges being faced in the areas of affordability, across social housing, and across all sectors. Madam Speaker, we anticipate that the competition will be implemented by the start of the second quarter of this year. And I can also indicate that team members from the Ministry of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change are currently engaged in discussions with the team from MEGJC under the Prime Minister's leadership and further to his instruction, where we will also have a competition there that will focus on defining the best fit design for the Hope houses. Madam Speaker, as we make the call to the construction industry stakeholders to participate in the climate resilient home design competition, we recognize their critical role, not only in the housing sector, but to national development. The PIOJ reported that in the last quarter of 2020, the construction sector grew by 6.2%, Madam Speaker, in times when all sectors are being adversely impacted. It is our construction industry that has proven resilient, and I want to hail all who have worked and continue to work in the construction industry throughout this economic downturn. Madam Speaker, the perpetuation of informal settlement, of squatting, is one of the greatest challenges that we have in the country and connected to so many of our ills. It distances the residents in those communities from governance. It creates barriers to policing and barriers to intervention of social services. And that is why, Madam Speaker, we will be focusing our attention on addressing the issue of the informal settlements and squatting across the country. It is our failure to act over time that has facilitated and institutionalized squatting, Madam Speaker. The issue has been acknowledged but never sufficiently addressed. It's a difficult conversation to have, but one which we must engage in, Madam Speaker. And we will be defining a legacy if we leave the Parliament without addressing this issue. Madam Speaker, we have a squatter management policy in our ministry which will assist us in providing a comprehensive solution to this critical issue. In addition to the squatter management policy, Madam Speaker, we are working to develop and to continue, rather, our survey across the country of those areas where we have informal settlements. It is this data that will give us a true picture of the scope and extent of the unplanned settlements across Jamaica. And the goal is not just to have a survey. That's not the outcome that we seek. But the information from that survey is to be utilized to assist in defining a solution, medium, long-term, short-term solutions. Madam Speaker, this is a critical issue for the ministry. We have completed a total of 25,202 surveys across 219 settlements, Madam Speaker, in Clarendon, St. Ann, Manchester, Trelawney, Hanover, and St. Elizabeth. Data collection has already commenced in St. Mary, Portland, and St. Thomas. The trends extrapolated from the surveys already confirm that squatting in some cases results from the need to be close to economic opportunity, especially in areas where there is an inadequate supply of affordable housing. Madam Speaker, it is all connected, as I said before. Our challenges, and so too the solutions. Madam Speaker, in the last financial year, the ministry committed assistance through our housing fund to 183 families of over $60 million. But we recognize that the need far outstrips our support by multiples. It's going to take, Madam Speaker, a significant investment and a phased approach for us to adequately solve the shelter needs of the most vulnerable in our country. That's why, Madam Speaker, we intend to call on the Minister of Finance to structure additional support to advance our efforts, and where possible, through the Climate Change Division, we will identify funding for the program as a mechanism for building climate resilience. Madam Speaker, colleagues, let us note, in our informal settlements, where we have residents blocked off from social services and policing, these are the same spaces, same residents that are the most vulnerable, Madam Speaker, to the impacts of climate change, the flooding, the droughts, all in these areas where we have unplanned communities. So as a country, we must take this seriously and understand that the investment in fixing that problem will be an investment in developing our country in multiple ways. It's not just a housing issue. Fixing the issue of squatting and informal unplanned communities will assist in national security, in health, in every sector. As I said earlier, it is all connected, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to quickly look on a very important issue of the rental industry. Madam Speaker, the rental sector is an important element of the housing industry. Why do I say so? When we speak about providing safe, affordable, and legal housing, not everyone can own a home. There are many persons who, whether in transition or whether of their own decision, will be renting. What we have found, Madam Speaker, is that out of the 1,353 complaints that were dealt with by the Rent Services Unit, the majority of those complaints had to do with harassment, arrears of rent, illegal increases in rent, and non-refund of security deposits. What it does is establishes the importance of the amendments we are making to the Rent Restriction Act. Amendments that are going to be proposed will be including, Madam Speaker, once and for all, putting in the Act the issue of security deposit, which I know many Jamaicans don't know is not in the Act right now. It is just a practice and norm. We will be addressing the issue of recovery of possession. Madam Speaker, for years, several landlords who have sought to recover possession have just abandoned the claims. Council will tell you, because they are completely disheartened and disillusioned by the long delay that they expect in the courts. The amendment will allow for access now to the Rent Assessment Board as an option to be utilized as a tribunal to address issues of recovery of possession. Madam Speaker, also the matter of the notice to quit, another essential aspect of the amendment. Again, for years, landlords have been finding all type of creative ways to be able to get access to their own property. Once and for all, you will be able to use the intention to sell property once validly, once it can be adequately evidenced. It can be utilized as a valid reason for you to submit a notice to quit to your tenant. Madam Speaker, we have had extensive consultations and discussions, and I want to take the time to thank Ms. Paula Parks and Ms. Scarlett and the team for the hard work they have done throughout this period in advancing the rent amendments. We look forward to that coming into operation. Madam Speaker, moving swiftly through, the Ministry is also pursuing amendments in the Real Estate Dealers and Developers Act. We are pursuing community interventions, Madam Speaker, as we continue research in the housing sector, and we have defined it as the case of Jamaica. We are pursuing also, arising out of the passage of Hurricanes Eta and Zeta, the socio-economic survey and multi-agency assessment that was completed in Bull Bay and Wise Road, and several others across the country, Madam Speaker, which we find important if we are to build this resilient and sustainable Jamaica that we speak of. Madam Speaker, very important is community regularization. We have initiated a project to review property accounts across the country. And in short order, we will submit to Cabinet a proposal for the writing off of smaller outstanding balances so we can put more titles in the hands of Jamaicans across the country. Madam Speaker, this is aligned with the efforts of the Housing Agency of Jamaica, where we will also be designing and advancing the HAJ land titling campaign. This will be a pilot project with the support of the NLA to do mass issuance of titles. Currently, the agency has 7,732 titles in its vault. And I am adamant, Madam Speaker, that we are going to take them out of the vault. Every single one that can be issued will be issued to a Jamaican. Madam Speaker, the Jamaica Mortgage Bank, a critical institution of our ministry, which focuses, Madam Speaker, on providing support to those across the housing sector. This year, Madam Speaker, we will continue the efforts for privatization, and we can make good news of the efforts of JMB, Mr. Winter and Mr. Shaw and the team, as they remain committed to maintaining the profit in that institution. Madam Speaker, the JMB is a critical part of our national economic recovery, and they have given significant support in this time to the robust construction sector, which has held up and been one pillar throughout this downturn. And I want to acknowledge the good work of the members of the Jamaica Mortgage Bank. Madam Speaker, permit me, as I close off, to also acknowledge the outgoing Managing Director, Gary Howell, from the Housing Agency of Jamaica. Yes, please. He has given sterling service to the Housing Agency. I think it's more than 26 years of his service. And in my presentation, it will show the contribution of the Housing Agency to the target that we see. Catherine Estates coming up, 1,650. Grange Pen, another more than 1,600 solutions to be developed, and more. Madam Speaker, the Housing Agency has proved vital, and the partnerships in the Housing Agency have proved to be vital in our housing sector. And I want to congratulate them for their work and to highlight the need for the Housing Agency to continue to address the issue of regularizing informal communities. I know that several of my colleagues have communities that need to be regularized. And we will be speaking to you. We welcome you to speak to us. And we'll do so, regularization of informal communities, as we also address the land titling issues. Madam Speaker, I want to just give 1 minute to the issue of urban renewal. It's not a new idea. Successive administrations have implemented various interventions relating to urban renewal. But this government, Madam Speaker, as we seek to renew Jamaica, will redefine how we see urban renewal. We will ensure that it is not just seen as cosmetic, but as an essential tool in the effort to renew Jamaica. Madam Speaker, urban renewal can and will be a tool utilized to renew socially inclusive cities and also to build public safety. If not for the time, I would go into details. But we invite all of the key stakeholders, such as the UDC and all of the municipal corporations, and we have engaged them and will continue to engage them in the effort to explore opportunities for community renewal. Madam Speaker, when change meets purpose, we can achieve renewal. And this renewal demands a firm resolve to integrate resilience and sustainability in every sector, for us to collaborate with private stakeholders and international partners, and to engage every Jamaican. Madam Speaker, if half of our people plant 1 tree at their house on Labor Day, we would have achieved half of our target. If every Jamaican recycles 1 plastic bottle per week, we would have removed 156 million plastic bottles from our landfills, gullies, and marine ecosystems. If half of the corporate era uses rainwater to flush toilets, Madam Speaker, we would save enough money to send several children to school. If we think, act, and do things differently, we are already on our way to a renewed Jamaica. We can do this. We must do this. Our children depend on it. Our country depends on it. Our future demands it. Madam Speaker, I invite every member of this honorable House and all of Jamaica as they watch, at home and abroad, to join the Ministry of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change as we work together to renew Jamaica, land we love. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I now ask that the debate be suspended.
Question before the House is that the sectoral debate be suspended. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes